Welcome, seekers of the unknown, as we pull back the veil between the living and beyond. Unraveling questions that plague our minds, and oftentimes presenting the evidence that may prove them true. Let us take you on a journey where paranormal becomes normal, and where what is right behind you just might be echoes of the afterlife or something more. But fair warning, once you step into the supernatural with us, you might just stay haunted.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stay Haunted.
Hola.
Hola, mi amigos.
Dos Cocos checking in for another Monday night.
That's right.
Someone thought it was Tuesday, not Monday. Whoopsie.
Whoopsie daisy.
Oops.
Carmela.
I did.
Carmela
I worked
normally is off on Mondays. Her Monday is all discombobulated.
Discombobulated.
I got in the shower. I'm in my pajamas, and I'm like, oh crap! It's Monday.
Monday.
So that's why my hair is a little flat, and I'm wearing a coat.
See, I would expect a different response to be, oh, yay, it's Monday. We got to Stay Haunted. Not, oh, crap.
Yeah, bad timing in my brain. Oh yeah.
All right, paper, rock, scissors. Who goes first? How was your weekend?
We didn't do shit. Well, we did a lot of shit, but not paranormal shit. Huh?
Yeah. So, excuse me, sir. We were busy. Yeah, not paranormal for us.
We were prepping for the kids coming in next week.
Do you have your Christmas stuff up?
Oh, yeah.
All of it.
Everything.
Ooh.
Outside.
Christmas tree?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here's the big question. Where is the ornament?
I put it by the bar, actually.
All right.
It's hanging in my bar.
Which is
I was
fitting.
expecting Chris, because I know Chris was adamant when we gave it to him on he was going to put it front and center on the Christmas tree.
Well, I was going to, and I asked her, I'm like, what'd you do with my skull?
Well, I hung it up before we put up the tree.
Right.
Too.
And she goes, it's hanging on the bar. And I went, oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense.
We can't argue with that. At first, I kept thinking you were saying the car. I'm like, you hung it in his car?
No, the bar.
The bar.
Like the
bar.
from the rearview mirror. Instead of an air freshener, Chris has got the Christmas skull hanging.
Right.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, put that up last week and just put up the tree yesterday.
Yesterday,
yeah.
Yesterday before we went to the parents.
So, yeah, dinner with the family, which was lovely. And we went out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Literally.
We didn't go out Sunday. We just went to your
Oh,
mom
to
and
my
dad.
parents, yeah, for dinner. But yeah, we were busy. How about you guys?
Look, Mary Beth is in her PJs too.
Mary, oh, hold on.
I'm not the only one.
Carmela. Mary Beth. Hello, Mary Beth. Hello,
Hello.
Frankie. Hello, Everett. Everybody else in chat.
Everett.
Our weekend was actually we had kind of past couple weekends we've been I think kind of nothing, and then the past couple weekends, but this weekend we re-engaged.
We were engaged.
What did we do Friday?
I can't remember.
Oh, Friday.
So long ago.
Friday night we
So
we
long
went
ago.
up to so Kara and Gail from 9 Lives Paranormal.
Oh, I was thinking that was Saturday. That's Friday.
We ended up going up to the Booton Elks Lodge. They had a premiere.
We were at the other place.
Yes,
Mhm.
we went to Booton Elks Lodge. They did a documentary, I believe it was over the summer, with a bunch of our investigator family friends. One of them was our guest. For this evening, they did a documentary. It was nice on a location up in North Jersey. I'll let our guest talk about it a little bit. And it was a really nicely done documentary. So
Nice.
we did that Friday night. And then Saturday, we weren't sure what we were going to do.
Friday was a drive. Saturday was a drive.
We weren't sure if we were going to go.
We had a lot of options.
We had options. So we were like, do we go? We were going to originally go to a location, the Parlor, which is kind of like the Creeper Gallery in New Hope, but Karen and Gail were doing a book signing. We were going to go there. And then we were like, and then our guest, we are invited to help out with the Morris County Park System, to do investigations. And then there was in Columbia, PA, was My Haunted Project had launched a new location right around the corner from My Haunted Manor USA. So we flipped a coin and basically
Drove the furthest.
we
away.
drove the furthest away.
Columbia, PA.
Columbia, PA. And to a place that was, it's the
It's like an
Keystone
antique store.
Keystone Artisans Works. So you would love it. I mean, it's an antique place. So there's a
Nice.
Yeah.
lot of antiques, but
Everywhere.
it was a cool experience in the basement. It's like 25,000 square feet, and it's huge. And it was a cool experience. And then Sunday we crashed.
Mm-hmm.
I think I slept till noon on Sunday.
I think you did.
So
How do you sleep to noon?
I don't
it's
know. I
easy,
wasn't.
man.
No, it's not. Somebody teach me. I'd like to sleep till
Yeah,
7.
I didn't fall asleep until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Who could teach me to sleep till 7? Todd sleeps till noon.
I'll sleep you.
I'll
teach
sleep you.
I'll
He'll sleep
I'll
you.
Put you in a sleeper hole.
That's right.
That didn't sound right at all.
What is happening? What is happening?
That was our weekend. Well, we haven't been off the rails in a while.
That's
So.
Whoop.
I was waiting for that pop in.
No.
So
Whoop.
that was our weekend. But here we are Monday night, and we are ready to.
Now I'm ready.
You ready?
Now.
You guys ready?
We're ready.
Ready to rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll with our guest.
All right, guys. Tonight we have Richard Moschella. He's a paranormal investigator, medium, spirit artist, and author at Beyond the Fray Publishing. He's released numerous books on spirit communication. His encounters on his journey in the field. Since childhood, he has been connected to those on the other side of the veil. We share something in common. And it wasn't until adulthood that he fully accepted his QA ability. His boots on the ground style approach to his research is extremely important to him and the case files that he works on. Guys, this is the most important part right here. From book projects to films he produces and appears in, Richard works tirelessly at positively adding to the paranormal collective. Through books, film projects, appearances, classes, public demonstrations of mediumship, and private readings, he seeks to show the paranormal is quite normal. Richard is highly regarded among professionals in the paranormal field and embodies what unity truly is. Guys, we've had him on other podcasts. We have him back on this podcast. Rich is a great guy. Everybody say hello to Rich. Hey, Rich.
Hi.
Hello,
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome
How are
to-
we
Not
doing?
Stay Haunted.
Welcome to Stay Haunted.
Thank you. I love the invite. You guys are awesome. So I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight.
So are we.
Cool,
So are we. First of all, what the hell's that standing behind you?
This is my friend. This is Bob, the Sasquatch. I had the costume and I'm like, you know what? This would really fit the mood down here with all the paranormal stuff. So we got our aliens, we got Sasquatch, we're all good.
Nice.
Oh.
My black mirror, that's
Don't
Right?
look into it.
Don't look into it. Well, you can.
No.
and just think, my kids come down here and they play. If I turn this around, there's toys.
So,
It's an
Sorry.
empty room.
so Rich, I have a quick question. So with Bob, when you got Bob, was there an option for a smile, no smile?
No, it's just a standard. No, it's just a standard suit. I actually got it for a project I was going to work on where we needed some like video shots of a Sasquatch in the woods.
Right.
So I'm still trying to work on that project. But in the meantime, it costs so much. I don't want to put it in a box, and it kind of goes with the vibe in the basement. So,
Absolutely.
so he stands guard and keeps an eye on the kids.
And the
Because-
kids are very quiet.
Because if they're bad, he comes alive,
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like
Hey, Bob. Hey, Frankie.
of like that one TikTok where the kids are all playing around the pond and all of a sudden Bigfoot comes up out of the bushes. The kids run like hell. It turns out to be Dad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They're very conditioned down here, though. I don't think much would frighten my kids. I mean, there's a lot of things up on the walls. There's aliens. There's gray paintings. So I think they're good. I mean, they're going to go to school and probably talk about this basement. But
have you ever had have they ever kind of talked about like, oh, my dad's got a Bigfoot or something like that, and the school, you've gotten the phone call or something like that, like
happened the tail end of last year. My son Jackson said to a lot of the teachers, my daddy talks to ghosts. So this past fall, I've been doing like a lot of events in my area here in northwestern Jersey. So all of a sudden, this woman comes up to my table. She pays for a reading, and she goes, I'm a teacher at your son's school. And she's like, I saw your name and I wanted to get a reading. And then at the end of that, she had such a positive experience. She's like, would you consider doing something like this to raise money for the PTA? And I'm like, totally. I would love to do that.
Very cool.
So it's starting to spread, I guess, amongst, the school and the area now that I'm the spooky dad, who does these fringe kind of things, But it's kind of cool because I noticed her, when you look at somebody's face and it's like, I saw you somewhere, and it's like parent pickup.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That is way awesome.
I'm just thinking.
Be like that scene in Sixth Sense where you're in the school and there's people hanging there and the kid can see them.
Yeah. So now on the parent pickup line, when we're waiting every day to pick up the kids, I get all the paranormal questions. And, it's crazy because there's people in everyday life that you would never think would have stories. Then all of a sudden, 10 people on the line that you would never have guessed come up to you and they have stories, whether it's from their childhood, whether it's in the home that they just purchased, and they're coming up to you now that they know that it's okay, and they're sharing these stories with you. So,
I noticed that at work when they bring me in the room to talk to all the patients to calm them down, and they're like, "Let me tell you this story." Like I feel like everybody has a story, whether like you said, kids or now or something. But it is funny how people just talk about it, but you would never think it.
Oh, it's
a lot of people are guarded, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, what's funny is I flew to Charlotte for a business meeting last week. Week before. No, it was last week.
Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. And we got all these guys from the company. We're talking about market growth and we all go out to dinner. And one of the guys across the table goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, I watched some of your recent podcasts earlier or last week." And everybody's like, "Podcast? What? What do you mean podcast?" And I'm like, "Oh, my wife and I are paranormal investigators. We have a podcast." And boom. So much for work. The whole table turned to, "Hey, this happened to me when I was a kid," and "Hey, this happened to me it was hysterical."
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Lourdes.
Lourdes.
I was going to say good morning, but it's not.
It's not.
Well, it will be soon.
Give it time.
A couple more hours.
Somewhere is morning.
So, Rich, tell our audience all the different things that you do.
Well, the mediumship combined with the spirit art. So not only do I do mediumship readings, but I also take it another step further where I sketch the essence of the communicator that comes through. And that's bringing that spirit back to life through a sketch. How they looked, how they combed their hair, things that they would have wore in life, the details that made them who they were. And that's also brought forth with evidence. And the evidence is just not Dad liked to work on cars. I want to get to what made Dad who he was, the relationship that he had with you. If there's siblings, the relationship that he had with the multiple siblings. Was it different with you than it was with your younger brother? Things that really bring Dad back. And that's where the evidential mediumship comes in very, very handy because you don't settle for mediocre. You try to get as much as you can to bring that spirit that's coming forth back to life. So I combine that with the spirit art that I'm sketching to the evidence that I'm presenting, at least to have layers of information that I can provide to you from that person. So this also helps when I'm investigating during a paranormal investigation when I'm working with a team like Todd, Carm, when we're on, a site, because I also read into the location. And through my clairvoyance, that clear seeing, I'll see this movie start playing out in my mind's eye. And how I would describe it to your audience is it's almost like when you can sit here and recall what you did yesterday. You could kind of see yourself in the yard raking leaves. Well, that's how I start seeing spirit show me their life. And it's through my mind's eye. So I'll be sitting across from you and I'll see Dad start coming in and he'll show me what he did, things that he felt, accomplished of, things that he regrets. That's a huge thing when spirit comes through. I wish we had a better relationship. I was too hard on him. I was meticulous, and that was also something that led to the friction that we had. All these little things start coming through, and being a competent medium to know that all this stuff is for that person and just presenting it the right way makes the reading flow, makes it understandable and comprehensible. So the client that's sitting across from you really can listen and hear this story and see this person brought forth and accept it. Or if they don't, which is really never the case, Spirit's very strong and knows how to get that message through. So I take great pride in the mediumship spirit art, bringing forth the evidence. And then also, a few years back, I said, I want to start telling these stories. I want to start sharing them with wider audiences. So I dabbled with doing YouTube videos. But my real passion was always writing. I always wanted to be a writer. When I was a kid, I would have notebooks just full of stories. And I remember I told my teachers, I said, I'm going to write books one day. And my teacher was like, you need more realistic goals, sir. and I'm like, and I'm that kind of person that once you tell me I can't do something,
you're on it.
I'm going to do it. Okay. There's nothing that holds me back. So when I was told that, there you are. And you know what I did? I put all those books in a box, and to Lodi High School, those books went with a note. You're a past student, class of 2000, Richard Moschella, is a published author. And it wasn't about ego.
Right.
It's not about that. But what it was about was you should encourage people.
Yeah.
Right? And this is through any walk of life. When somebody has a passion to do something, the worst thing you could do is try to stamp that light out.
Right.
And try to shift their thinking to something that maybe you think you want, but whatever that passion is, I always say, tell that person to fight as hard as they can to achieve that.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have the fighter spirit like that, I had to say, you know what, damn you, I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to find a way. I wasn't, the smartest kid in the class. I was in special ed, classes, trying my best. I had a hard time learning things, but I said, I'm going to do this. It took me a hell lot of time, but I was able to do it. I was able to teach myself, read what I needed to learn on how to do something and put that out there. So, now I just can't stop writing. I have projects just sitting on the desk, and I'm just bouncing from one thing to the next, but I just love doing it, because when I can put these stories down and share them with people, that just brings me such happiness when somebody comes up and they're like, I read your book and it's not as spooky as most people on TV portray it to be. And there's not demons around every corner. Yes, there's dark things and we write about that, but it's not how it's portrayed in the media.
Right.
And you also talk about people having the ability, how we all have this ability, and it's learning how to use it. Nobody has a gift. I don't think, when you get somebody up here and they say, I have a gift of mediumship. Well, if I have a gift, you don't have it, you don't have it, and you don't have it. And if we're all souls that come from the same source, we all have the hardware. It's just learning how to use it. Right. So that's another thing that I write about is, we can all turn it on. But just like how you learned how to work in the paranormal field and what tools do, it's dedication, it's time, okay, it's showing up. You just don't pick up stuff and say, I'm a paranormal investigator and I'm going to investigate your house and I'm going to tell you what's going on. It takes years of learning how things work, how the spirit world works to be a competent investigator. And I'm sure there are people that watch your podcast and, the next day they think they're an investigator, And that's not the way to handle this work. It's not a joke. It's not funny. And I think the education behind it and bringing forth those books was very important to me to tell not only my story, but to also share perspectives on how we do this, why we should do this the way that we do, and bring it up to that level. And like you said in the intro, to contribute, positively to the collective that we're putting forward, because, that gets looked upon by the public and the media. So, I think it's very, important to take what we do seriously. So through my mediumship, my books, and then my readings. I mean, that's another thing that I hold very sacred to me, when I can do private readings when my schedule allows, and I can have people come in and we can have readings, and we bring forth family members, or if I go to a private party at their location, if I'm reading their home, that's another step to what I do that I take very, very serious. So,
do we ever show Rich our hat?
I don't know if we ever did or not. We'll have to show you. So we have a hat that we don't know. Okay. We may have to, next time we get together, we may bring it and see if you can.
Oh, yeah. We have Chris's hat.
I have a hat.
It's behind us. It's a Scottish Rite hat, and
Right.
I had gotten it from the Creeper Gallery. Donna Marie, who owns the Creeper Gallery in New Hope, and I won it on an online auction. So there's initials, but we don't know there's no name associated, just initials.
Okay.
So, and don't mind Carmela, she's going to reappear from behind the magic curtain.
Wow. And she comes with a little box.
So I'm gonna, at some point, I'm gonna bring this and maybe have you do to see if we can make a connection, if we can find out who may actually, what the initials are for that hat. Because we have a mediumship. That person on the reading and the pamphlet that when we got it didn't have it.
She didn't know his name.
Didn't know his name, couldn't read his name. So I don't know, because it's Scottish Rite, because secretive. So whether or not that individual may or may not come through and stuff like that. So, but that was something that's actually good thinking. Good thinking on your part, Clark.
Good thinking.
So I got a question before you have Rich read that at a location later on. Do you actually know that the hat inside matches and is directly to the initials?
I don't know. Are their initials?
Authenticated that they belong together.
Good question.
They say that it belongs together. That's what they
like.
Said.
Is it like a beige hat with like red stitching?
Well, it kind of remind you of like
Do you want to see the hat?
Sure.
Yes.
Well, now at this point,
you brought it up.
So it kind of reminds you of like a bell hat.
Yeah.
We're big Disney fans. It spoke to me when I first saw it because of the haunted mansion, or the flying monkeys, that too.
Yeah, that's
Wizard of Oz. But we were thinking more haunted, the haunted mansion.
Yeah,
and,
you totally see that. Could be your costume next year.
Tower of Terror and stuff. So
they say they belong together.
Yeah.
The hat and the box belong to the same person.
Yeah.
Every time we bring it out, something's gonna.
The initials are GFS Junior. That's all that it is on there.
Ooh, don't knock that over.
Yeah, don't knock that over. So, but we'll bring it to you. We'll
I would love to hold it and see what I get.
We brought it to the Masons. We brought it to the Masonic Temple.
I'm trying to think. We had done. Yeah,
we
went
like
to the Masonic table investigation the one time.
What's that, Chris?
It doesn't look like a Mason's hat.
No.
It's a Scottish Rite hat, which is still a version of the Masons.
Oh, what if it was left?
What do you mean? Left behind?
It was bad. You said it's
It's Scottish Rite.
Scottish Rite. I knew where you won. I wasn't giving it to you.
It's a Scottish left hat now. That's a whole nother.
About that.
But they did say at the Masonic Temple that's what it is.
Yeah,
they looked into their database, couldn't find anybody with those initials, so they said they looked into it. But I don't know.
I'm a little curious when Rich actually touches it. I don't think the two are connected.
No.
Box in the hat.
I don't think the box.
I will say one thing: when you held it, I got an R, and I wanted to almost say like Robert. I don't know if that. But holding it's a whole nother thing. So I would be very interested. The next time we see each other, bring it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely a man, and he's definitely here.
Yeah, we've had some occurrences in the house.
Do you hear footsteps in the house with it?
Oh yeah. Oh, my bedroom door slams constantly.
Because I almost want to say, like, he's like just like walking back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Well,
they
he's
also told us
done that when we've been on calls.
Oh yeah, you've seen.
Yeah. He's done that when we've been just on a video call talking together. I'll go, "What the hell's walking behind you?" Oh, that's just the guy that's always here.
Try a little whiskey for him.
Yeah.
Some Scottish whiskey, and yeah, there you go. That might rouse his. He might come on the call tonight.
The first day that we brought it home, TJ, it was slamming downstairs in the kitchen, and I said, TJ, what are you doing? He's like, don't go down there. I go, what do you mean? He's like, cabinet doors are opening and shutting. Whatever you do, don't go in the kitchen. So I went in the kitchen. I'm like, all right, like you're fine that you're here, but please, like, stop. You can hang out, you can do whatever, but don't scare us.
Yeah, well, it's different when like the family starts like you're like kind of like used to it, but it's when the family starts experiencing things. Like for us this past summer, I think this is a cool story. My family, every year we go to Cape Cod, so my wife books the trip. So this past year my mother-in-law and Kate's aunt also come, and we got a second week out of it, so we got 2 full weeks on Cape Cod. But they found an old home on 6A. Now, 6A is the historical highway that goes from Provincetown all the way back to the mainland. So we found this beautiful home. We go in immediately. When I go into it, I'm like, okay, there's stuff going on here. There's stuff going on here. I'm not going to say, I kind of want things to just pan out. Right. I don't feel anything bad, but there's definitely vibes.
Right.
First night there, my wife and I are in bed, and all of a sudden, coming down the hallway around 9:30 at night, we hear paws, and it sounds just like a cat. And it gets to the bottom of the bed, and you actually feel the cat come up on the bed, paws on the mattress, and then as the cat on it like settles into our feet. She looks at me. And I'm just like looking at her, and she goes,
"You're like
yeah, I'm like, we got a ghost cat." So this would happen night after night around 9:30. The paws in the hallway, jumping up to the bed, settling onto the mattress. You would feel the springs kind of moving like a cat would do when it settles in. Not only was that happening, but when we told her mother and her aunt this, they were hearing voices from downstairs coming out of a closet.
Oh.
Long story short, at the end of that, the entire family was experiencing stuff. So now her aunt, her mother, Caitlin are all like, yeah, okay. There's no doubt in our mind these places are haunted. And her mom might have been on the fence with spirit stuff, but when she left that house, she was like, no, totally. There's things. There's like things going on.
What are you doing bringing guests with you? On the vacation.
The funniest thing is when Kate could write, like, it's about a week, you could leave like your like review and what you thought. So Kate mentioned to the woman that we rented the house from, my husband does this stuff, and we were feeling things. And while we were there, I kept calling the woman that I felt in the home Lizzie. I'm like, Lizzie. I'm like, I definitely feel it's a Lizzie. And it's a woman who got very ill, and she's withering away in this home. The kicker comes when we write that, and Kate sends that off to her. The daughter replies, she goes, my mother passed away and her name was Elizabeth.
No.
She didn't die in the home. She went to a assisted living within the area, but she goes, oh my God, would you guys want to come back next year? Like there's this whole they want me to stay. They want me, she wants to come to meet me. So that might happen this next summer. But it was just one more layer where I'm like, I just saw the name Lizzie in my mind's eye. I'm like,
right.
But it was just a total thing where the whole family experienced the activity there.
Right.
And
so and that's cool that it takes me back to, I was going to ask this question a little bit earlier about, when you're doing your readings and mediumship, and we've been blessed because of, we've met you guys. We've been fortunate enough to meet you and been able now to work with you in person. And I think it was Lodi. It may have been Lodi Library, one of the first times that we met you, and you were talk about the signs when you're, the little signs and stuff, and you were going to do a reading, I believe it was, and it was the cat, the Garfield cat. Tell that story, just that, like you weren't going to say anything, but then you felt impelled at the end.
Yeah, like how spirit comes through with like symbolism, even when you're doing a mediumship reading. Like I'm driving to a reading and all of a sudden I saw this Garfield clinging cat in my mind's eye on a windshield in a car. And I bring that to the reading and I mentioned to the woman, I'm like, I see a Garfield stuck to a window, one of those 1980, plushies. And she goes, my grandfather wasn't into Garfield, but the funny thing is he was born in Garfield, New Jersey. I was born in Lodi, neighboring town. So if spirit showed me the town, I would have thought I was just in my head thinking about where I grew up and driving the streets that I normally would have drove. But because spirit gave me the Garfield cat, I took that for my reading. The same thing just happened a few weeks back where a woman came to me. She wanted to have a reading and I'm driving. A lot of stuff happens when I'm driving to my readings. All of a sudden I'm driving and a bag of pierogies. I swear to God, a bag of frozen pierogies just comes down to my mind's eye and I see a bag. I'm like, my last name's Moschella. Okay. I don't think of pierogies that much. Okay. It might be a bag of pasta, some Zeppoli.
I mean, for us, I'm Kokatalo. I'm Polish. So that resonates with me. The pierogies resonates
I would, hey, Todd, I would eat a bag of pierogies. I'm not saying that, but it's just something that I'm not thinking about. Right. So that bag of pierogies comes down and I'm like, this is for the reading. So I hold on to that. And again, I sketch the mother. I bring forth the evidence that backs up who she was in her life. But the kicker was at the end, I go, I have to mention there's a bag of pierogies that she's showing me. Does that make sense to you? And she looks at me and her eyes start welling up with tears. And she goes, last night, my sister and we were having a conversation. She knows I'm coming to see you. She goes, but I asked Mom about the pierogies and if she comes through to show us pierogies. And Mom did. Mom jumped to the front of the line even before we were together. That's how intelligent the spirit world is. Right. She knew that all this was going to happen. So she knew by showing me that, I'm competent enough to hold that and bring it to the reading. Her sister and this woman were talking about Mom's pierogi recipe. And she goes, we keep trying all these different bags of pierogies, but nothing tastes like Mom's. And I looked at her. I'm like, well, she knows you're buying frozen stuff. I'm like, you might want to try, you might want to try from scratch. And she had a good laugh about it. She goes, I have to tell my sister this. Because if anything you said I didn't understand, which she goes, it's not the case. I totally accept the picture. That's her. And the information provided is her. But that is something you had no way of knowing that we had that conversation last night. So again, when spirit shows you signs and you don't have to be a medium to see them, you ask for a cardinal, just don't look for the bird, right? You could be driving like I was on Route 80 and this big 18-wheel right in front of you. And it's cardinal trucking.
Right.
Don't look for them so obvious. And you can make them harder. Another sign, like I don't know if my loved ones are communicating with me, because then I don't know if it's coming from me or if it's coming to me. So when I think of my grandmother, I can't say if it's mediumship. I have to go to a medium for my own people. But let me tell you, I do talk to her. And one day, my grandma, it was a real rough week. And I go, Grandma, can you give me a walrus? Hackensack, New Jersey, summertime. Where am I going to see a walrus, right? And I get in my car, Sirius XM, right to the chorus. I am the walrus. Goo, 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 from the Beatles. Hair instantly stands, stands up on end because it's so powerful.
Right.
And that's unusual. Like you're not seeing a walrus, right?
No.
That's.
I say that to people all the time. Everybody looks for the burning bush. Yeah. They're looking for some guy walking on water. They're trying to catch that spirit walking down the hallway. It's the little things that you got to pay attention to. The little signs are the telltale signs that tells you, and the signs that don't make sense actually do make sense if you really pay attention.
They're truly only a thought away. And that's the title of a book that I put out, because I'm like, this is truly how spirit works. And I see that in all the readings that I do. It's consciousness. That's what I feel. When we raise our vibration, it's almost like that phone call. they have the option of picking up and answering. And I can tell you 9 times out of 10, they answer. And at times it might not be something that just hits you in the face, but when you're open and you're open to the idea of that communication happening like that, it does. My grandmother.
That's my grandmother. So Raul has a question for you.
Raul.
Hello, Raul.
Hey.
Have you ever gotten a message from spirit that doesn't feel right telling the client?
That's a good question.
When I've learned my mediumship from my teachers, the one thing that they have always said is you strive to heal. So if anything comes through where it's something to do with suicide or a traumatic way that they've died, you find ways to bring that fact to your clients that don't cause any more trauma or any more hurt or drag them through the entire event again. Right. So if I see a tragic accident where somebody's being crushed, I've been in DEMS where a medium actually goes into, oh yeah, I feel bones are crushing in my chest. You don't need to do that. Yeah. A male is coming through. He's showing me that, he's here 1 minute, he's gone the next. It's a quick transition. There's some trauma that's going on in the chest. I feel like it's quick though. I feel there's ways of wording things where we don't hurt people. Okay. The same thing with suicide. I feel like this individual who's coming forward is showing me that things were very hard for them. They had really no other way of getting out of this. And what transpired is very sad, but they really felt like there was no other way. Okay. And what they did, and you bring it forward in a soft way. You don't go and say, oh yeah, I see there's a gun involved. I see him position, that's not how we do this. There's ways to word things. There's ways to present the information. The one thing that we are told, though, is you don't edit it. The only thing that's edited is if it's going to harm or hurt. And that's where a competent medium finds ways to convey it, but in a softer way where we don't bring that trauma back for that person. Right.
Very cool.
So can we backtrack to the books that you've written and the stories and when you took the books to the Lodi library, did you go na to the
I actually put them in a package and I sent it to them. I really hope it's in like the library, and that's like one thing that I've thought. I'm like, I just wish that if there's any kids in there that have that passion, I'm sure that guidance counselor is long gone. Right. But just to encourage people. I mean, and that's with anything we do. Like if somebody tells me they want to get into like spirit art and they want to do mediumship, go for it. And it starts out like just getting just putting it down on paper and just being confident. The books that you write, we all have stories. Yep. And a lot of people that I meet through like the demonstrations and stuff, they do come up and they're like, I really want to write a book, but I don't think nobody would want to read my story. Everybody's story is so unique. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your story, Chris, Audra, your experiences, the ways that you view things, the things that you've been through, your trials and tribulations. Like, it's not just about jump scares and, it is this book. People want to read about life's experiences, combining like what you went through to get to where you are. And everybody has a story to tell. And I think if we all just sat down and we dedicated a few hours or even a few, half hour. You don't even have to do an hour. Just do a half hour where you write maybe a few pages each day or each week. By the end of the year, you're going to have something. Okay. And if you're not happy with it, you got another year to work on it.
I'm going through my head. What can I remember?
You can write about everything.
And when you do as many investigations as all the people that I know do, you have stories. Okay. Yeah. I know you guys all have stories, and there's publishers out there like the publisher I work with, Beyond the Fray, where they just publish paranormal books. So you find that niche, right? That, publisher that publishes what people are that, read. So it's not like you're going to like a Simon and Schuster where they're going to be like, oh, you're just these little small fish. You find somebody that nurtures what you're doing, right? And encourages it and promotes it. And I feel like anybody can do this. Again, it's not a gift, it's an ability. And we all have that, whether it's paranormal investigating, mediumship, writing. You just have to dedicate that, right? You got to dedicate yourself in that time to putting it down and getting it out there. So next year, I expect books from all of you.
That's right. All of you.
And I want signed copies.
Will do. What's Frankie? Frankie's what's saying. Rich was instrumental to our early days at the Ritz. His connections with the Ritz spirits 5 years ago are still revealing themselves. The spirit Art Rich drew for us are hanging in my office.
Thank you, Frankie. Again, a wonderful location. So much spirit activity at the Ritz. And then you get people that encourage, investigators and at all different levels. You don't have to be this, highly acclaimed in investigation, and they promote that, learning with one another, bringing people up from all walks of life into a place and saying, this is how an investigation happens. These are how these tools work. Every once in a while, I know he features somebody like from the field that comes in and does a little talk to educate and then to investigate. And having that camaraderie where people can come together who share a love in this and learn from one another, that's para-unity, okay? No ego, learning, and forming that community. I mean, and that's what we should promote more of, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
today.
So Carmela and I spoke today about everyone having the abilities and they just need to tap into it.
Yeah, you would be surprised. I'll tell you, when
somebody listened to me today at work. Somebody listened to me today. Sorry.
When we do our little circles and we're doing like a mediumship circle at an entry level where people with mediumship, they feel like they have an ability, they sit there first time. And before we close out our circle, we do little brief readings. Sit across, ask spirit to come close. What are you picking up for this person? What are they picking up for you? And I'll tell you, 3-4 people in that group pick up on things that they're blown away on, because it's coming to them. It's coming to them, like how that Garfield dropped down, how the bag of pierogies dropped down. But so many people in your 9-to-5 day, you just think you're daydreaming. You think that this image is just, it had to come in my mind. Maybe I saw something on TV, or maybe this influence. No. And as you learn mediumship, you learn how these things are dropping down, how you're clairvoyant, your clairaudience, hearing, sentience, augustance, taste, smell, how spirit communicates even through those senses, where you'll start tasting something, or you'll smell a fragrance or roses or like smoke. And that also links to the spirit world, or you'll hear something. And this is why it's so important to dedicate yourself in learning and never stop learning. I still love sitting in circles, whether if I'm teaching them or if a friend of mine is, if I'm open and I'm free, I would love just to sit in there, because you see these people kind of transform in front of you and gain that confidence. At first they're there like, I don't know what. When they're walking out, they're like, wow.
Right.
And that wow is an ability we all have. So, we all can do this. It's just dedication and showing up.
Yeah. No, I'm so excited. She listened to me today. So I'm going to put you in the other room, and I'm going to see if you feel what I feel in this room. It wasn't in the room you were in today. It's a different room. That's for my patient. Can't say her name.
No, I'm like, huh?
That's who made the comment.
Figment.
Yeah, so that was
she
Figment made the comment. So it's one of
And I
our
didn't know you love
patients.
Disney. There's another thing there.
So
Another thing.
yeah. So
Sorry,
Rich.
didn't mean to throw over.
Yes. No worries. I'm like, what room am I going in? Is there another room?
you guys, that's
like,
a room
Chris and
for
Audrey
you,
are gonna come through like my door. And
There's a room
What are we
Bob,
supposed to do?
Where am I
Bob's
going?
taking you into the special room. Bob's taking you into the.
do you think Bob can come?
Bob can come. I mean, nobody likes the dentist anyway. Let's hang him up there. That'll make me forget to do things. But there's this room in our office that nobody believes me, but I swear to you, I call him Inspector Gadget. He looks like Inspector Gadget. He comes in and out constantly. And I'm like, nobody sees him. They're like, no, you're crazy. All right. There he goes again. But I had another woman in there that said she thought there was a portal in there. I don't know about that, and she's like, they're all here to see you. I'm like, well, keep moving. I got to work. Let's go.
That's another thing. When spirit knows you're open, you're like a moth to the flame.
Right.
That's another thing. I mean, they definitely, like, try to get a message through. So, try to communicate, try to sit there and see what starts coming into your mind. I always say, sit down. If you feel like spirits around, with a blank piece of paper and pen, open yourself up and just start writing random things that are just coming into your mind. Automatic writing.
Doing that at work.
I'm going to put a video camera in there and start taping it.
First of all, I'm not allowed to sit.
So this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Because I've actually had people, because, I've been sensitive my whole life. I've actually had people go, I have these abilities. What do I do with them? And I'll go, because I've been working on this my entire life. This isn't something that is, I can't tell you. I don't know what it feels like to just have it pop in your face. Right. So there's a lot of people, and I'm curious to see what your answer is, Rich. Where do I go to learn how to use these abilities?
Spiritualist churches, they're all over the country, and they believe in the communication of life after death. And there's principles to their belief system, and they're wide open to this. And they have different programs that you can sign up for, whether you want to take just a weekly class or you just want to pop in. They have speakers come over from prestigious places across the pond in England that come over, different tutors, spirit art, autographs, everything under the sun. So if you really have an interest, look for a spiritualist church. Google them. You'll be really surprised how they pop up in your area. Besides a spiritualist church, you get metaphysical centers. And the metaphysical centers also offer classes. So I work at one here in Denville called Inner Soul Wellness in Denville, New Jersey. So if anybody's interested in the New Jersey area, Inner Soul Wellness is the place that I work out of, and I have classes with these wonderful ladies, and it's a nice, safe space. Nobody judges nobody, and that's what you'll see when you're dealing with spiritualist churches, metaphysical centers. There's no judgment, okay? And I can tell you when you walk in, you just feel the compassion, the love, the acceptance, because a lot of people that are coming through these doors might have been shunned by other people, might have been told, you're nuts. And when they come into these places, there's a little bit of reserve. I don't know if I get, but I'll tell you, when people come through the doors, they shine because they're actually accepting their, abilities, and they walk out feeling so much more confident in what they're getting. And I've now been working with them for four and a half years. And I've seen people who just started in these little practice groups now that are in professional mediumship roles and now doing their own demonstrations for 30, 40 people and knocking it out of the park. So I definitely encourage anybody, look up a spiritualist church, metaphysical center, and start your journey.
So, Rich, as a medium, when you have people come in and you said about they kind of shine and glow, are you able to, with your abilities, to see if they have an aura, or when you start to work with them, your first impression, so to speak, when they walk through the door? I
don't at this point, and our mediumship changes as we get older. There's people that can look at people and see auras, right? Colors flowing. For me, it doesn't work more. It works more through energy, through my intuitive pulse. I'll know if somebody's a real good person. I'll also get the vibes if somebody isn't so good. And that's kind of what I've always judged. It's kind of like your gut feeling. And I always say, you get gut out of the way. What do we all have? An intuitive knowing, right? We have an intuitive knowing that someone's good, somebody's bad. So I'll get that. I also go into my psychic senses. And for me, anything with, especially people, I use a traffic light. Red, stop. Don't do anything with them. Yellow, proceed with caution. Green, go for it, Rich. Go for it. And this is what I do when I meet new people. New people come into my life, or things open up as opportunities. I look at that traffic light. I look at that intuitive pull. Is this something that I should do? Is this somebody that, I should really invest a lot of time in helping? Are they really in this for the right reasons? These are conversations that I have kind of with myself, and that intuitive pull kind of lets me know if this is good, if this isn't. But you don't have to be a medium. I'm sure you all have had a knowing if a person is a good person, if a person is, legit, so.
I always and even with Chris and Audra, have told Carmela this: go with your gut feeling, like her intuition. She's a very good. She'll get these feelings and sensations, and Chris and Audra have always kind of tried to nurture that. And I always say, listen, I've learned after being with you for 30-something years now.
He hasn't really, but it's fine.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better to go with your intuition. I mean, because usually it's like, when she's reading people and
translation, Todd can't get away with shit.
Nope.
No.
Pretty much.
And how does that person make you feel? And that's like another way of judging. If when you're working with somebody and at the end of it you just feel like you're physically drained, that's not good. Like there should be an exchange. There shouldn't be a one-way pull. So that's energy that's just draining. It's like the psychic vampires in our lives that we need to kind of cut those strings because they're just pulling us down. So
we learned about energy vampires in the UK when we went over. I had never heard of that term before or whatever, but we were like, yeah, makes sense. Just cut those cords and just separate.
Just try to live as high vibe as you can. And when, you start feeling that pull down, you just know it's time to let that boat go, just cut that rope. And
I mean, saying that, more to you lately, I think like, I can't be with that person. I feel drained. I'm tired. I'm angry. Like sometimes I'm just angry when I leave. I'm like, I just can't. I can't be there.
Right.
I've been saying
because it messes up your energy. Like if you believe in chakras, if you believe in, your crown and your third eye and your throat and so on and so on, when you are in this low vibe, low energy field, it throws your chakras off. And then that could also bring health issues into your life and anxiety, depression. I mean, things come in because you're very low vibe. You're losing that energy. So that's as precious as gold. You really have to guard yourself and the people that you bring into your circles.
Yeah, I get it. That's why I say run. Don't look at them. Don't make eye contact. Keep walking.
You gotta guard your sandbox.
I disconnect that quick. Ask Audra. When I go, I don't effing like that person. I'm out. I won't talk to them. I won't walk around them. I'm not rude to them, but at the same time, hey, do you want to go hang out with us? No, let's go over here. Yeah, I disconnect quick. It's happened a couple times recently. We won't mention any names, but happened a couple times.
They shoot us out of their house very quickly.
They shoot us out of their house quickly.
He jumped out of the bathroom and scared me. I mean,
it was on Carmela. We said we got to get these fuckers out of the house. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, you got to do whatever you need to do, though,
gotta do it
to cleanse that.
Ever.
Some Palo Santo and sage and a
right.
Yes.
So, hey, Rich. So a quick question. So 2 questions. So one, when you, with your abilities, what led you to do the spirit art versus just kind of doing general readings as a medium?
It's kind of weird. Like 15 years ago, I kind of got heavily back into comic books. For some reason, I just started to collect again. And as I was collecting, I started watching people do like drawing videos. I'm like, you know what? I had a lot of stress at the time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to start learning how to draw. So I was watching YouTube videos on how to draw like The Thing and Spider-Man and Batman. And my son was just, like we started to have kids and I started getting a little better. And I said, I'm going to start drawing some stuff that he could hang up on his walls. And I started drawing and I said, you know what? How cool would this be if, as I'm seeing stuff when I'm on these locations, if I could start putting this stuff down and showing it to people? So I remember one of the first like historical places I felt really competent in showing was like 2019. And I said, this is the man that I see and this is what he looks like. And I showed it to the docent and she goes, you drew the person who owned the property before the house was here. And she showed me the man's picture. She goes, you mind if I keep this? Because this is really cool. And that was like the one shove that I needed to be like, okay, maybe I could show this to the public. Yeah. I've been keeping this kind of like my own little pile of papers here for 10 years. So it's something that I kind of learned. So again, the spirit world works in mysterious ways. Maybe that getting back into comic books was kind of like that little push that I needed to start feeling comfortable with drawing artwork. So, and that's kind of like how that got tied into my mediumship. And then I learned that there were mediums that did spirit art. I learned about, these profound people like Coral Polge. If you Google her, she was a English woman who just drew. She did a lot of drawings in her readings. Luckily, a friend of mine said, there's a Coral Polge signed book on spirit art on eBay, Rich. Do you want to buy it? And she sent me the link, and the auction was closing within the last 5 minutes of the auction. And I said, you know what? I'm going to bid. And it's no name, to somebody, they don't know who Coral Polge is. I remember I got it for $33.
Wow.
Nice.
My 3-3, I got it for like $33, and it's signed by Coral. So
you read my mind, Chris. I'm like, when's he going to use the new editions?
Hey, that was fantastic.
We were applauding.
So Friday night we were fortunate to be with you. Real quick, can you talk a little bit about the 9 Lives, the documentary with 9 Lives? And
that was a ride. That was fun. We started last winter actually, and we did 3 shoots. One was kind of a reshoot, and then we came in for our interviews in the spring, and we kind of were wondering what Sergio, the filmmaker, was going to do with the project. He kept giving us little bits and pieces saying, oh no, it's, I'm doing lighting now and I'm doing this. So we kind of were waiting on it. And the antique shop in Denville, known as Times Tin Cup, is a shop that's full of spirit. You walk in, you feel it. And we were there for these long hours through the winter, and just working there and picking up stuff. There's so much more that could have been in there, but he wanted kind of like a sizzle reel. So it's like a 23-minute, it's almost like a preview of what we experienced that night. For me, even being affected in the basement where I volunteered because I felt there was a very standoffish man who was in the crawl space. I was pushed. Okay, it affected my mood, and I'm very high vibe. When I'm on an investigation, I usually don't get affected. But 24 hours, I was angry. I was upset. People with me actually said, Rich, your face is beet red. And I had to go outside and do my best to ground. The following day, I have a practice that I go through to kind of ground myself and settle. So it even affected me to that extent. So seeing it with you guys on Friday and having you guys kind of witness a little bit of what it was and see the location, and everybody was commenting on how awesome it looked. I'm very proud of the project. I think Serge, just knocked it out of the park. I understand what the lighting was and why he was making everything perfect, because it looks like a legitimate movie. Okay, it don't look like an iMovie, like an iPhone kind of. He made it beautiful.
Yeah, he did.
Every shot. So if anybody goes online, in search of hauntings, amazing. It's up there.
It's a nice little teaser, and it makes you want to kind of. It makes you want to see more and kind of be engaged a little bit more.
I can't say this. Serge is looking for other locations where we could do more of these. Right. So if anyone out there, if you watched that, film, he has his contact info. Send him a message. If you have a location, and you're kind of within the Northeast here, I'm sure he would write back, because he's looking for locations where we could bring our team and even more people involved. Yep. And the 9 Lives lady, Kara and Gail, so generous, amazing women in the paranormal field that, more people should be like them, very much with para-unity and accepting everyone. I love working with them. And Jenny, it was just a great show. So.
If Frank is still listening, I hope he told him about the Ritz. I know
he's coming.
coming.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
Is he coming?
Yeah, Sergio's going to be so we're doing an event at the Ritz this weekend, and I think he's going to be showing the film and stuff. So down at the event on Saturday the 22nd. So we get to see it again.
Oh, it's awesome. And you can watch it on YouTube. So I already showed the people I work with today. I'm like, you got to watch this. So that antique shop's going to get a lot of traffic.
I hope so. There's a lot in there. It looked like a really cool place.
Just don't go in the basement.
I'll try not. Sometimes you get drawn in.
Especially when somebody Rich tells you not to go into the basement.
Right? And then you gotta go.
When Rich is saying
don't go in the basement, we're going in the basement.
Yeah.
Gotta go. Well, I'll tell you.
I got that shove. And I'm like, okay, he's really pushing back. And he did that whole investigation, all those different nights that we went down there. Lisa goes down at one point. She's sprinkling the holy water, and it was pushing back. And we asked DR60, who are we communicating with? And there's a sound clip that goes, I am devil.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
So you got to watch it.
Interesting.
Actually, Mary Beth, I'm in the process of looking it up, trying to get it for you to drop it into the group chat. Here it comes. There is the link. That's the link.
Check it out.
So it's on YouTube. It's in Search of Hauntings.
Where's the link?
I hit it. I don't know why I didn't drop in there. Maybe you can, you know what? Let me send it to you in group chat, Chris, because maybe it won't let me do it because it's a
video file.
And it was just, I copied it from whatchamacallit, from YouTube, from the link. So I don't know why. I just sent it to you in the group chat, Chris, so you can, maybe you can drop it.
Sure.
Nope. There you go.
Oh, I see it all now there.
Yeah.
Just took a little time.
There it is.
It's not fancy, but it's there, y'all.
Yeah, just copy and paste it and you're good.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was fun. I'm hoping that there's more down the pipeline because, just working with great people on that kind of a platform and where you get to see everyone shine was great.
So I know we were talking a little bit on Friday too about our Halloween and horror kind of fixation, and you were talking about writing books and following your passion and don't let it deter you and stuff. And we were like, well, because that location at Boot and Lodge is in the Friday the 13th show that's going to be coming out, right? And Rich was like, we were talking about the old horror shows, Creeper show,
Chiller Theater.
We were like, Rich was like, he had a little idea in mind for a film. I'm like, well, listen, Rich, go ahead and do it. I'll be happy to join in because I love scaring the bejeepers out of people.
I don't like it.
Love horror movies.
I know about some.
You can get Chris in there very easily.
The next room I have all horror props. I have a signed hockey mask from Jason, a signed Michael Myers mask from the actor that was Michael Myers. I got a Freddy glove. So I have all that. I grew up in the 80s. I mean, I love those movies. To me, those are iconic.
Right,
and for me, Robert Englund, Jason, Michael Myers, those are our Creature from the Black Lagoon. So that's our Bela Lugosi and our Boris Karloffs, right? So,
Chris, do we have a couple minutes?
What's
that?
Do we have a couple minutes? I know what time is it? Oh, we're past stuff.
It is 10:04. We are actually past time, but we'll go to about 10:15.
Yeah.
Okay. So, dang it. And I was asking that question.
Of course, for everybody watching, UNX is their audio is going on to the next program, but we're still live on YouTube.
Cool. So let's talk. I want to get Rich's opinion on the Sea Atlas 321 or 21 or whatever it is. Let's talk a little cryptid.
The A1 Atlas.
The A1 Atlas.
I don't know. I like how we were talking. Like no major news network has really come forward and said, "Okay, this is what's going on." I think just yesterday, maybe one might have mentioned it on like a morning show. what I feel, I mean, honestly, I don't feel like they're coming from somewhere else. I feel like they've already been here. I think there's more to do with cloaking. I feel like there's, I don't feel that, we're waiting for them to arrive. I feel like they have arrived, and they've been here a very long time.
Right.
If anything, I feel like we haven't been here that long.
Right.
And there might be something to do with us being a part of them, or a side project, or some kind of, but I don't think so. I'm more a fringe theory. I know a lot of people get upset when you start mentioning it, is the ancient aliens. But when you could look back into the past and see all these different societies, okay, different parts of the world, all looking up, okay, and building structures that we have no way of knowing how they built the pyramids, temples, and everything is aligned to solar movements and calendar. Where did this tech come from? Right. And then you look into scriptures, and especially in the Old Testament, and you see chariots of fire and these, knowledge being departed from, above, and things came down and taught knowledge. The Native Americans talked about the sky people. I mean, when you get one, you could say, okay, maybe, but when you start seeing this string that starts coming down in other cultures and different time periods, departing knowledge, driving, if you look at these cave paintings, what would appear to be a spaceship, silver, floating in the sky. Even in the Mayan tombs, there's this one thing of a man who's like laying on his back, and he has these like controls in his hand, and it looks like there's fire coming out from the bottom of what he's sitting in. It would almost look like an astronaut that's going up into space. So when you look at all these things, to me, I think that they've been here. They are so much more advanced. Maybe they have a way of slipping in and out of what we call veils, or a dimension. That's why their craft moves so fast that all of a sudden they're gone. Maybe they have a way of slipping in and out. But the kicker for me is when our Congress, there are congressional hearings going on where they're talking about UAPs. Okay, 1947, a day after the crash, it's a weather balloon. Turn the page, and that's what we got through Betty and Barney Hill in the 1960s. No, they didn't experience any abduction. As we go through all of ufology up until the point, and I would say the last 10 years, we started to take more of a serious tone to it. Okay, and we started saying, okay, now we're not going to call them a UFO no more, because that's too much that fringe. We're going to call them a UAP, or a USO, an underwater craft. But now the congressional, we're having hearings on this, where generals, where people who have flown these planes are saying that tech, we don't have it. Okay, here are our videos from our cockpits. We don't have this. How fast that little tic-tac is moving, we can't chase it. Okay, there are people that have been in submarines that are saying, if you only knew half of what we saw when we were under the water with these submersibles that are coming in and out and flying up into the air, it would boggle your mind. Another thing is non-human biologics. In a congressional hearing, somebody from our military stands up and says, we have non-human biologics. That is the closest you're going to get to full disclosure, I think, ever. I don't think the government is ever going to come out on the Channel 2 or the Channel 7 News and say, aliens are among us, these crafts are real, because we will lose a sense of safety. And that would be mass panic. You saw what COVID did to the grocery stores. Imagine a spaceship with aliens from another from
Independence Day. Imagine Independence Day happens. Forget it, man. It's like it's over.
I do think we are probably gearing towards a total movement on maybe their part, where it's just going to be an in your face kind of thing one day, where it's like, we gave you all these instances to accept what was happening. Okay. And here we are. I mean, none would be better.
I actually think human nature, you put it in their face and they can deal with it better than something they can't see.
Yeah.
So like you guys mentioned COVID. People freaked out when COVID. Well, COVID you couldn't see. You didn't know when it was going to attack. You didn't know what was going to make you sick. You didn't know who was going to make you sick. You didn't know how much of the sickness was going to be there. You didn't know if it was going to be hospitalized. You didn't know if you were just going to be tired. You couldn't evaluate and see it. I think putting an alien form in front of people, I think they would handle it much better because it's in your face. At least you can see it, touch it, feel it, deal with it. Right?
And honestly, maybe the alien form is better than some of the forms we have. Right. That's the other thing,
right?
You know, like, I think I'm ready for the spaceship. I'll be like, okay, like,
Dreyfus, take me.
Yeah. Let's go colonize Mars, folks. You know, I mean, but when I look at it, I honestly, and from talking to people when I wrote my book with the ETs, and I definitely feel that there's cloaking. There's ways that they're slipping in and out of this reality. I feel like there's something to do with that. And I think that they've been here. I don't think that we're waiting for them to arrive. I just think that, you know, they're going to show themselves to us when we are ready, and we show it as a society. We are still mice. I don't think we are ready. So
interesting. I was curious. I wanted to ask that question because I know it's a passion of yours, and you enjoy talking about it.
I love it. I grew up in the 80s. In Search of with Leonard Nimoy and, all those old shows, and
what was
Whitley Strieber, The Communion Book.
V? Remember the TV show V?
V, yeah, with the reptilians. That was Robert Englund who played the one lizard.
Yeah.
And the one thing that everybody's got to realize when it comes to Hollywood, there is always a fraction of truth.
I know.
In every story they tell, depending on how big that fraction is.
Yeah.
Depends on how much you believe. But there's always
look at like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. J. Allen Hynek, who was part of Project Blue Book, was an advisor to Steven Spielberg on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So you had somebody who had knowledge of what was going on, and they were putting those little strands, like you said, Chris, into a movie for people to digest. And I think that has happened since then, where they kind of just start conditioning us to what eventually might occur, So
quick question. Do you feel or experience time shifts from Figment?
Time shifts, I could say no, that I don't. I don't feel that, I don't feel time shifting, but I do say that there is something occurring where you can almost feel like there is a pull towards maybe more enlightenment coming, where we're embracing more of these fringe things that once were a taboo subject and nobody wanted to talk about. Seeing this stuff on the nightly news, seeing how more mediumship is being accepted and people that are coming forward with healing and shifting more to a natural way through like Reiki and sound healing. And I think our society is changing. So if that's a shift I feel that is happening to our society, and it's more acceptable now.
Agreed. Well, it has to be a shift of somewhat of a natural state, because time was created by man. So you hear the phrase time shift and everybody goes, oh, it feels like I just went backwards 2 seconds or I went forward 30 seconds. But when you think about it, time is time is just a concept of terms.
Yeah.
Right. Time is just a concept of terms. So it's the natural shift is like Richard just said, it's we're going back toward the mental capacity of healing, towards the holistic healing, towards the natural healing. And people are getting tired of, you guys have seen it. This new drug is out to help you cure depression, but it causes suicidal thoughts, crapping your pants.
All the side effects. Who the hell wants to take it?
Heart attack, stroke. There's 30 different side effects for the one fix. Yeah. And people are tired of that. So we're leaning more towards, time slip. Yes, we're slipping into a time where it's more natural healing. You can homeopathic books. You can buy them online now.
Yeah.
And half that stuff works better than the shit you can buy at the drugstore.
And you understand about grounding and just how nature heals, and just taking off your sneakers and your socks and actually feeling dirt under your feet, and there are some elders from tribes that would actually submerge themselves into the dirt and actually almost like how birds take a dirt bath. Yeah, they would submerge themselves in the ground and feel the energy from the earth would permeate and heal them. And these are what tribal elders did, and their people did survive. Their people claim healing. So I do feel that the earth itself is a huge healer. And if we just kind of go back towards it and we kind of step away from all these crazy things that, are, happening, it does help with our anxieties and, things that people are heavily taking medicines for, especially going more inside than outside.
Right.
Absolutely. And one last thing, at least for me, is talking about that with the time slips. Deja vu. I feel like, it's almost like I've experienced it, and I'm sure we've all experienced it. My personal is I don't know. I think it's like an alternate timeline of myself. So and I've seen it, and it's like, man, I could have swear I've been here before. What the hell's going on?
Could be past lives. I don't know if you guys
past life or something,
subscribe
right?
to that, but
Yeah.
I've read many books by this Professor Weiss, and he is a therapist, and he regressed his first client, and he regressed her to a point where she was talking about a life that came before, and she had so many points that she remembered and names that they were actually able to track it down, and they found a family in Ireland that she was claiming the name of the mother. She knew the town, she knew things that so it just shows that we could be coming back, and these fears that we have in this lifetime could be things that we've experienced in the past, and we can't get over them in this lifetime until we understand them. So the same thing, if you're in a place and all of a sudden things just make sense to you and you're like, I've been here before, I know how this road goes, or I know how this town looks, or, it could be things that got passed down. A hobby of yours, if you're into the Civil War, what, really makes these people so crazy about the Civil War and that they have so much passion for it could stem from a previous life. And they're carrying that with them in every incarnation that they have. American Revolution. There's people that, feel that they were there. They possibly could have been.
So here's an interesting, and not to steal Frankie's kind of experience that we had at the Ritz event a few weeks ago. There was an attendee, and he did the neurovisor that he's now kind of the light and sound therapy to help stimulate new neural pathways in the brain and stuff, and the long and short of it. But he had an experience of he felt, which was almost like a past life or a different life, where he was in Vietnam as a soldier, and he was feeling like the wounds and the bandaging and stuff. It was a wild experience, but it was different. It was, no reason to discount what the attendee was feeling, but it was pretty powerful. So it was interesting.
And when you could tap into that, I mean, that's another thing. It just gives you those chills where it's like, wow, we've probably all been here before. And when you work with people, you meet people for the first time, and you feel that connection. Like, I know you, or you almost feel each other beyond physical, and you're connecting on that soul level. Like your soul knows their soul. And this professor talks about that too, where there's soul packs, where people kind of travel in those packs. And that's why people in your life in this incarnation could have been with you in previous lives. And you kind of just keep doing this dance. You keep coming back together. And through that, you're all learning lessons among, maybe roles were different. Somebody might have been the father and somebody else might have been the mother, but you're all still learning on that soul level, again, for that progression in the spirit world. So, I mean, we could go on for another whole 2-3 hours.
Absolutely. We're just scratching the surface.
But I love this stuff. I love this conversation. This is,
And I'll have to have you back on.
We'll definitely have to have Rich back.
Did you get that picture I sent you?
Which one?
Mary Beth said hug a tree, so I just sent you a picture.
Hug a tree. That's a good idea.
Carmela sent a picture to you, Chris, in group chat.
I found it. I don't know if you're hugging it, though.
How do I get
I'm
that
hugging
off?
it. Just hit that again.
He's hugging a tree.
I'm hugging a tree. I was grounding.
There you go.
This was in Ohio.
That was in Ohio, yeah.
That was
before you warned him about the snakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, we were hearing noises in the woods, and I'm like, well, let me go look. And Chris is like, Todd, where are you going? No, get your ass back here. I'm like, why?
I said, have you ever seen how much a copperhead blends in with the leaves? He's like, no. And I'm like, you're about to find out. You might want to stick the trail.
I turned right
I
around.
fish. I do a little bow hunting, so I definitely know those
It wasn't
snakes
too
out
long
there.
after this picture that we had that conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. I did my grounding there.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the back,
No means no, Todd.
I think in the back of that picture, you might have saw Bob's friend who was peering out the tree. It was a female Sasquatch, if I can recall. Hello.
Nice.
All right, Rich. So before we go, plug away. Where can people find you? Where can they find your books?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. You could check out the books. They're on Amazon.com. All the books are there. A few are also available at Barnes & Noble. You can also check out my website, richardmoschella.com. And there you'll get everything that I'm working on, latest projects. I have blogs and just a lot of information with what's coming up in the next year. You can follow me there. And I'm on all the socials. You can find me on TikTok, on Instagram. And, I just love this stuff. If you have any questions, send messages. I love to answer any questions that you guys have. So even if we talk about classes, I'd be more than happy to guide you to the right places for that. So
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very,
thanks for having me on. I really had a blast.
Rich, it's always a pleasure having you on, brother. I mean, you want to talk about the true essence of para-unity. Everybody watching,
Thank you.
Richard Moschella right there. That is the true essence of para-unity. I've never heard this man say a bad word about anybody. Me, on the other hand, but not Rich. Not Rich. Rich is a fantastic person.
Thank you, guys.
No worries.
It means
All
a
right,
lot.
guys. We will Todd and Carmela will see you next week.
Oh my God.
What?
We've got the kids coming in.
Right.
I might try and pop in. There might be a surprise guest host. Audra won't be here because the grandbaby will be in town. But we will definitely see you next week with another great episode of Stay Haunted. But in the meantime, guys, if you want to get in touch with people that are trying to communicate with you, you got to get in touch with Richard. You got to you got to sit through a session with him. You got to go to richmoschella.com. You got to get his books on Amazon. But most of all, guys, you got to believe in para-unity and you got to stay haunted. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Night.
Thank you.